Okay, so when the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock, makes a move, you know people are going to pay attention. And they just did something that's sending actual shockwaves through both traditional finance and the crypto world. They've hit this massive milestone. And in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what it is and why it's such a huge deal for the future of money.
And here it is. This is the number that has everybody talking. $100 million. That's the record-breaking payout from BlackRock's very first tokenized fund. I mean, this is a clear signal that the worlds of Wall Street and blockchain, they're not just colliding anymore. They're seriously starting to merge.
So the big question is, how did we even get to that $100 million payout? Well, to understand that, we need to look at the groundbreaking fund that made it all happen. So let's get into it. Let's unpack the BUIDL token.
This whole story, it really revolves around one single but super powerful concept. And you've probably heard this term thrown around a lot, tokenization. But what does it actually mean? Because honestly, it's the engine that's driving this entire financial shift.
All right, to put it simply, tokenization is basically taking a real-world asset, think something like a US Treasury bill, and creating a digital version of it, a token, that lives on a blockchain. In essence, you're turning these traditional, kind of clunky assets into super efficient digital ones that can move way faster, way cheaper, and with a whole lot more transparency.
So you might be wondering, how does this actually work for someone who's investing? Well, it's a pretty simple three-step process. First, you buy BUIDL tokens. Then, BlackRock takes that money and invests it in really stable stuff, like US Treasury bills. And here's the cool part. The income from those T-bills gets paid out to you as dividends, but it's delivered directly to you on the blockchain. No middlemen, no waiting around. It's pretty revolutionary.
Okay, now let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture here. Because this isn't just about some new financial product. Nope, this represents something historic. It's the established power of Wall Street finally, properly meeting the disruptive potential of crypto.
The best way to think about the BUIDL token is as a digital bridge. So on one side of the bridge, you've got the heavyweights of traditional finance, BlackRock, US Treasury bills, the classics. And on the other side, you've got the key players of DeFi, blockchain tech, and digital tokens. BUIDL is that thing in the middle, connecting these two massive worlds. And this really illustrates the bigger picture perfectly. As one source put it, this isn't just some financial achievement. It's about, and I'm quoting here, cementing the relationship between traditional and decentralized finance. That's a strong word, cementing. It's a sign that this connection is becoming way stronger and maybe even permanent. And make no mistake, this is not some small-scale experiment. BUIDL launched on Ethereum, which is, the biggest platform for this stuff. But it's already expanded to a bunch of other major blockchains. This kind of broad integration, it just screams serious adoption and a real commitment to the entire crypto ecosystem. Okay, so let's zoom out even further. Because while BUIDL is obviously a huge step, it's not just some standalone project. It's actually a super critical piece of BlackRock's much, much broader strategy for the future of all digital assets. Yeah, this chart really puts BlackRock's whole strategy into perspective. Check it out. The BUIDL fund, with its $1.7 billion in assets, is seriously impressive, right? But then you look over and it's just dwarfed by the insane $62 billion inflow into their spot Bitcoin ETF. It really shows you that BUIDL, as significant as it is just one piece of this much larger multi-billion-dollar push into crypto. But even within this gigantic strategy, BUIDL is a total trailblazer. I mean, it is the first tokenized US Treasury fund ever to hit that historic $100 million payout mark. This is the proof in the pudding, right? It shows that the tokenization model doesn't just work in theory. It works at a really significant scale.
So what's next for BlackRock? Well, if you look at the signs, they're pretty clear. They're already talking about tokenizing their other ETFs. They're posting job openings for high-paying crypto roles, and their CEO, Larry Fink, has publicly called Bitcoin not a bad asset. I mean, come on, these are not the moves of a company that's just dipping its toes in the water. This is a full-scale, all-in commitment to the future of digital assets. So if there's one key thing to take away from all of this, what is it? It's this. BlackRock isn't just investing in crypto. They are actively, strategically building the financial infrastructure of tomorrow. And they're doing it one token at a time. And that brings us to a really fascinating final question to leave you with. Think about it. If the world's largest asset manager can successfully tokenize US government debt,
What's next? Your stocks? Real estate? Fine art? Could we be watching the very beginning of an era where basically everything of value gets tokenized?